made Romantic Homicide, and it was so different than everything else I had made because it was actually sad. It was slow, it was sad, it was emotional.
You need to delete it.
Maz, can we delete all VODs? And then as soon as the stream ends, delete the stream too?
I didn't physically, in the back of my mind,
And I want people to, in 2023, I did try and bring the situation to light, and a lot of people remember, I was having a lot of... It got so bad that David's legal team had got in contact with me to remove everything.
It started when the body of a Jane Doe was found inside a Tesla registered to him. At first, no confirmation that David had any connection to her until now. The David story just got really dark. And
imagine the very song that launched your favorite artist to global stardom turning out to be a confession. A chilling roadmap to something no one ever expected. That's the storm surrounding David right now. For years, fans saw him as the bedroom producer who defied the odds, rising from a Houston closet to global fame. But after a disturbing series of leaks, screenshots, and eerie coincidences, the internet has been asking one haunting question. Was his music simply art, or was it hiding something darker? The leaked track Celeste didn't just shock listeners, it seemed to mirror a tragedy that would unfold years later. And when online sleuths dug deeper, they uncovered messages, alleged calls, and even financial trails that painted a disturbing picture.
According to TMZ, just last night, the office listed the victim's gender as female, a height of about 5'1" and 71 pounds. This person has wavy black hair, and she apparently has a tattoo on her right index finger that reads, "Shh." Apparently, she had been wearing a tube top, black leggings, had a metal stud earring, and a metal chain bracelet in the shape of a W. According to TMZ, though, to be more specific here, there is no definitive conclusion as to age, gender, or cause of death.
Some insist it's all fabricated, a smear campaign by jealous rivals or obsessive fans. Others say the evidence is undeniable, and that David's silence speaks louder than words. Today, we're diving into everything, from the leaked lyrics, to the fan theories tearing apart his career, to uncover why this story has shaken the music industry like never before. On September 17th, 2025, the music world came to a standstill. A track titled Celeste surfaced online, and what should have been just another unreleased song quickly spiraled into something far more sinister. The timing was impossible to ignore. The leak happened on the very same day that investigators confirmed the remains of a missing 15-year-old girl named Celeste.
But authorities are treating this as a death investigation. A spokesperson for the singer, whose real name, by the way, is David Anthony Burke, said in a statement to NBC News that he, quote, has been informed about what's happened, and although he is still out on tour, he is fully cooperating with the authorities. Now, we're going to talk about potential legal consequences here, but I have to say the singer may already be feeling the economic consequence.
But it wasn't just the name that made people uneasy. It was the lyrics. They weren't vague, metaphorical lines you could interpret 100 different ways. Instead, they eerily described details about the case that at the time weren't even public knowledge. The song referenced hiding someone in a car's storage compartment, wrapping them in plastic, and even mentioned the quiet forever theme that would later dominate online discussions. Fans immediately noticed something even stranger. Metadata embedded in the file suggested the song wasn't recorded recently. It dated back to 2023, well before Celeste ever went missing. The internet exploded with speculation. Was this just an elaborate hoax? Could the file have been altered by trolls trying to take down a rising star? Or was this track something darker, an artist immortalizing his crime through music?
We got in touch with Celeste's mother, and the mother told us, because what the police had come out with was that the girl had a tattoo on her right index finger that said S.
Even before they could find out her name, they obviously had the body parts and they released some information.
And it was on her index finger, it said SHHH with 3 dots or 4 dots. And that's all we knew. The mother told us that my daughter had a tattoo on her right index finger that said the same thing. And that the tattoo, she told us, in fact, Anakin here, she only spoke Spanish, so Anakin spoke.
The leak alone could have been written off as coincidence, but it was only the beginning of a trail that would lead to even more disturbing discoveries. Just days after the leak, screenshots began to circulate online, allegedly pulled from a private Discord server where David had been active under an alternate handle. The images showed what appeared to be him bragging in cryptic but chilling language, describing how he handled her in the frunk and kept her wrapped tight so no one would notice. What made the screenshots harder to dismiss was how specific the details were. The frunk, or front trunk, of a Tesla was later confirmed as part of the discovery site. The messages also mentioned a smell that wouldn't go away, something neighbors around the abandoned car had already reported.
David Tesla was repoed on September 8th. He started his tour August 5th, 9th. They said the car was sitting for over 30 days before it got repoed. He reported it missing in between that, but it's been sitting before he started his tour. He called to report a Tesla missing. Now chat, anybody in chat, go to Google and say, can I call Tesla? If my Tesla is missing, can I call Tesla to track it? Watch what it shows you. To call Tesla, a Tesla of all cars you report missing. When you can call Tesla and get it tracked, that don't make sense. They said the car was sitting for over 30 days. So from when the car was impounded on the 8th, we can add 31 days plus add some change. That's days, if not a week or more, before he started his tour, bro. Dating a 13-year-old, bro. Probably got a...
Even more damning were references to hush money, messages boasting about sending $8K split between two apps to keep people quiet. Online sleuths tracked down Venmo and Cash App transactions that seemed to match the time frame, fueling the fire that this wasn't just internet fiction. But with every alleged piece of evidence came an equal amount of skepticism. Couldn't these screenshots be doctored? With deepfake technology and AI tools, wasn't it possible someone fabricated the entire thing? Fans were divided. Some said no amount of editing could replicate the slang, the timestamps, or the payment details. Others argued the whole thing was too convenient, a smear campaign wrapped in just enough believable details to go viral. Still, if the Discord messages were fake, they were terrifyingly convincing.
And she said that she had a boyfriend.
That's right, that she had a boyfriend and his name was David. The mother never really got in contact with David, like she never saw him.
She didn't know who the David was.
She had heard of him. And it seemed like the last time that she had seen her daughter was when she had gone out with.
The controversy escalated further when supposed transcripts of phone calls surfaced. These weren't random rumors. They were structured, word-for-word documents that claimed to capture David describing exactly what happened to Celeste. One transcript had him allegedly admitting he choked her out and left her in the car, covering her in plastic to mask the smell. Another referenced the Tesla again, echoing both the Discord leaks and the lyrics from Celeste. Perhaps most chilling of all were the quotes about her being quiet forever and the air finally being clean. Fans who read them said it felt less like song lyrics and more like a real-time confession. But unlike the Discord screenshots, no verified audio has ever been released to the public. All anyone has seen are text documents with anonymous sources claiming to have access to the calls. That hasn't stopped the internet from treating them like gospel. TikTok edits, Twitter threads, and YouTube breakdowns went viral, all analyzing the phrasing and connecting the dots. Critics pushed back, saying until real recordings surface, these transcripts could just be another layer of fan fiction. But whether real or fabricated, the transcripts struck a nerve. They blurred the line between art and reality, making people question whether they'd been singing along to confessions all along. As these leaks piled up, the internet went into a frenzy. Hashtags like #JusticeForCeleste and #DavidLeaks racked up billions of views in just days. Entire online communities formed overnight, dedicated to dissecting every lyric, every photo, every rumor. TikTok users created side-by-side edits, syncing the leaked lyrics with police reports about the Tesla discovery, and the results were too chilling to ignore. Meanwhile, fan pages once dedicated to celebrating his music became divided war zones. Some die-hard supporters insisted this was all a hit job, pointing to David's touring schedule and public appearances as proof he couldn't have been involved. Others felt betrayed, saying they could no longer listen to his music without hearing confessions hidden in plain sight. Even casual listeners, who had only known his viral hits, found themselves dragged into the discourse. The scandal wasn't confined to niche fan forums. It was trending on every major platform. And as the noise grew louder, what might have been dismissed as baseless rumor was quickly cementing itself as mainstream conversation. To understand why this story hit so hard, you have to look back at how quickly David rose to fame. Just a few years earlier, he was recording songs in his sister's closet, borrowing her iPad and layering vocals through free apps. In 2022, his breakout hit, Romantic Homicide, caught fire on TikTok, exploding into 1 billion streams seemingly overnight. His moody, lo-fi aesthetic set him apart in a crowded industry, and fans connected with the raw authenticity of someone who didn't come up through major label polish. By 2023, he was headlining festivals, performing at Coachella, and landing collaborations that cemented him as more than just a viral one-hit wonder. His debut album, Withered, debuted at #1, and critics hailed him as the new voice of Gen Z heartbreak. But with fame came scrutiny. Rumors about his behavior online began surfacing. Allegations of grooming, whispers about inappropriate messages, and fan accounts posting questionable interactions. At the time, many brushed it off as clout chasing or exaggeration. But looking back now, those early warnings feel eerily connected to the firestorm that would eventually consume him. Celeste wasn't just a name in a song. She was a real girl, just 12 years old when she reportedly first came into contact with David online. According to multiple threads, they connected through TikTok and later through Discord, where she quickly became one of his most vocal fans. The alleged messages between them showed what some experts have described as classic grooming tactics: constant flattery, encouragement to keep their conversations secret, and hints that she was his muse. Fans later discovered Venmo transactions sent to her, labeled innocently as art inspo and cover idea, which raised even more eyebrows. By April of 2024, Celeste had gone missing. Friends claim she told them she was heading to Los Angeles for an opportunity, but she never returned. Months later, her remains were found in an abandoned Tesla that had once been registered to David. For investigators and fans alike, the connections between the timeline, the leaks, and the lyrics became impossible to ignore. Even without a public trial, the internet had already drawn its conclusions. In the wake of the scandal, David's team scrambled for damage control. A PR statement was quickly released, calling the leaks a cruel coincidence of art being twisted into lies. But the words rang hollow. Concerts were canceled, tour dates quietly postponed, and his usually active social media presence went completely dark. For many fans, the silence was the loudest statement of all. If he was innocent, why wasn't he defending himself? Why wasn't he addressing the girl whose name had suddenly become tied to his career? The lack of transparency only fueled the fire, making people believe he had something to hide. Even music outlets that had once championed him started pulling coverage, wary of associating their brand with an artist under this much scrutiny. The more his team tried to shut down speculation, the louder it grew. Silence, in this case, wasn't safety. It was gasoline on an already raging fire. With no trial and no official answers, the internet filled in the gaps. 3 dominant theories emerged. The first and most widely believed is that he's guilty of premeditated murder, with the leaks serving as unintentional confessions sprinkled throughout his career. The second is that he's the target of an elaborate frame job, maybe from jealous rivals, maybe from obsessive fans with the skills to forge screenshots, deepfake audio, and plant fake files. The third theory is somewhere in the middle, that Celeste's death was accidental, a situation that spiraled out of control, and that his silence is tied to fear rather than guilt. Regardless of which camp you fall into, one thing's clear. This story has reshaped how fans look at the connection between artists and their art. When does creativity cross into confession? And how much can we trust the image projected by the stars we admire? At the end of the day, whether the leaks are damning evidence or elaborate fiction, the fallout has already rewritten David's legacy. His career, once a Cinderella story of DIY success, now sits in ruins, overshadowed by whispers of manipulation, secrecy, and tragedy. For Celeste's family and for his fans, the truth may never come quickly enough. What's certain is that this case has forced people to question not just the artist, but the very nature of art itself. Was Celeste just a song, or was it something much darker hiding in plain sight? That's the question listeners will carry with them every time his music plays, long after the headlines fade.